Here we need to put the equation of the parabola into standard form, y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. We have to find the vertex and the x-intercepts. So when we're putting this in standard form, we're going to complete the square. That means we want the a out front here, so that would be our 4. So we're going to factor the 4 off of both x terms. Now this is a little different from completing the square just when you have a 0 on one side instead of a y, because we're going to do everything on the right. That means whatever we do on the right, we undo at the same time so that we do not change the equation. So I'm not factoring the 4 off the negative 5, I'm just shoving it over to the right and ignoring it while I focus on making a trinomial that I can factor as a binomial squared. So we choose our number here as 1/2 times the x coefficient, which is just a 1, and we're going to square that and plug it in right here. So 1/2 times 1 squared, just like always when you complete the square. So 1/2 squared is a 4th. So I'm going to write y equals 4 times x squared plus x plus a 4th. Now I'm just working on the right side of the equation, so I'm not going to do anything on the left. I'm not going to add a 4th on the left. Instead, I'm going to undo what I just did. So let's see, if I were to multiply this out right now, multiply the 4 through, I would end up with a 4x squared plus a 4x plus a 1 minus 5. So this is different than what I had before because now I have this 1 here from the 4 times a 4th. So when I multiply that out, I get a 1. That means I've added 1 on the right, and now I'm going to undo that. I'm going to subtract the 1 as well. So I add 1 on the right, but I subtract it. And so if I multiply it all out, I'll still have the 4x squared plus 4x minus 5 if I multiply this all out and add terms together. Maybe we should write down what we just did. Okay, so we multiplied out and got 4 times the 4th is a 1, and then we added the opposite right there. But doing this allows us to complete the square. So we can now write this left side as y equals 4 times x plus 1/2 times x plus 1/2. That trinomial factors. So we get x plus 1/2 times x plus 1/2, and then a minus 6. So we have y equals 4 times x plus 1/2 squared minus 6. So this is standard form. The a is a 4, the h is a 1/2, and the k is a negative 6. So now I can easily tell how this has been modified from just plain old y equals x squared. The 4 is going to give us a vertical stretch, and the vertex is going to move from the origin to negative 1/2, because it's moving left 1/2, and down 6. So the vertex moves to negative 1/2, negative 6. Well, it's time to find the x-intercepts. So if you want, you can just let the y at the very beginning equal 0 and use the quadratic formula. So if you're a fan of the quadratic formula, that would be the way to go. I think that's what I'll do, actually. You could also start in your standard form right here and just finish completing the square, letting y equal 0. But I'm going to use the quadratic formula. So x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that will be 16, minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Excuse me. Okay, so that will be the square root of 96 then. (96) is 6 times 16 and the square root of the 16 is a 4. I'll just put the 8 under each term so we can reduce each term nicely here. So the x-intercepts are -1/2 plus or minus the square root of 6/2.